Welcome to 13. A little bit different of a 13 this week, and there's a ton to talk about. So here's what's happening. We're going to talk about a lot on the podcast this week, so it's going to be recorded. 13 is only on YouTube. I tried it on the audio podcast. The short 13 minutes just didn't take off with the audience. But I'm going to do the reverse. So I'm going to do the podcast tomorrow live on YouTube and then drop it on audio as well. I want you guys to hear it because there's a lot to go through. We're going to talk about Uber Teen. We're going to talk about the promotions they're doing now with school starting back up, the safety concerns. 2.0 has been revealed now for convenience and safety features, neither of which I agree with, but we'll go through them tomorrow. And what to know about Uber Teen. We're also going to talk about Scroober. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this. I'm only laughing because, listen, in the end, some drivers made more money, but really though, a lot of $40 million in extra fees on top of the normal platform fees were charged to customers that went to the drivers. So it sucks that it happened, but it should also serve as some sort of learning tool, because to go to these lengths and call it Scroober, and we'll discuss it in detail, it kind of demonstrates, that Uber could fix some of these problems. Just saying. We'll get into that tomorrow. Also, the rideshare deal that was made in New York City, the lockouts. Uber and Lyft made a deal with City Hall in New York City, and this is supposed to have stopped now. Well, it hasn't at all. And they're going to be protesting. These protests keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and striking. Here this week, was it today or yesterday, started the strike of Nashville rideshare drivers. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. But yeah, let's see, what else do I got? Yeah, a lot of stuff. Lyft is a motor carrier, and State Farm can be sued directly, Georgia court says. Lyft is trying rider verification, but we're way too late on that. We have a lot of stories to talk about. But here's the thing. This week, I'm just going to roll into it, and I think that's the best way, because then you guys will really understand why this relates to 13 and the gig space and everything we report on here. But this is very important. And I say this because I live in Colorado. I've talked about what's going on here many times. And a few things have changed this week, and a lot of rumors are going around. And so what I did, I'm even having friends texting me, people who listen to the podcast emailing me, a lot of people asking a lot of the same questions. So let's just get it all out there. And I thought, instead of doing all of the questions and stuff, though, what I'm going to first do is a timeline that I made here of exact dates for the last month and bullet points on those dates of what those dates marked of fact here in Denver. Okay, nothing in what I'm about to read. This is all acknowledged by all media, every. This is what everybody's on the same page about, and I put it together because nobody's laid it out like this. And then if we have a little time, I'll tell you guys about a couple of the things I've heard, which I can't say yes, that's happening, or no, that's not happening. But there's a couple of the things I'm really leaning towards it's not happening. But let's go through this because I want you guys to know. So why we have talked about this in the past is because if you're not aware, Colorado has been the number one sanctuary city per capita of all the sanctuary cities. And I used to say there was 9, I believe there's 11 now. But even per capita against New York, we are number one here in Denver. There's a long story behind that, but I've showed you guys, other creators in Colorado have told you or showed you that we have a real problem here. Undocumented illegals who are working the platforms. See them all the time. They're everywhere. But they keep coming and coming and coming, and it's been the platforms. And then there was, I talked about this a while back. It was about a year and a half ago is when that started to really build. Then all the gig work was being taken at really horrible rates. We were seeing them with tons of phones. And then the violence started between the migrants. And at this point realized that the migrant encampments hadn't been moved to their temporary housing that they got for free. And we can get into all that another time, or I can put links. If you got, please put any questions to anything, because we got to get through this in the time. Anything I'm saying that I'm just passing by, put it in the questions if you want to know more about it, because I shouldn't go into detail on any of this, only because of time. But yeah, anything you want to know about that and what was going on. And then the violence started carrying outside of where we moved them from encampments to free housing and hotels. They were given 3 hotels to use. There's only 1 left, and it's been abandoned. The other 2 kicked them out and are now going through full remodels because they were destroyed. But we're going to go through the timeline here because I want to set it straight. So on July 28th of this year, 2024, there was a shooting and a 13-hour SWAT team standoff at 15th, between 15th and 16th on Nome. Okay. And I can say all this because it's public information. You guys can go find it. And this was according to the Aurora Police Department's tweets. I and other or posts about the riots at Target Target after the Maduro election, which was the Venezuelan election. That was on July 29th. July 30th, others sounding the alarm about the Nome Street takeover and TDA. And again, I'm trying to not have anything get in any trouble because I'm just stating facts here. So I'm just going to say TDA. You're going to have to find what that acronym means if you want to know. Or leave it in the comments, and maybe in a day or something I can respond to that. I'm just trying to be careful. I want to make sure this video's up because I took time putting this together. So on August 30th, or on July 30th, another thing, Aurora PD says misinformation is spreading on their Twitter account. These are all Twitter account stuff that I pulled these from. And then on August 5th, 8/5, 9 News Denver says anonymous, there were many. Anonymous accounts are claiming that the location between 15th and 16th on Nome had been overtaken by gangs, but they couldn't confirm anything. All it said was that there had been code violations there for years and all the residents were kicked out. So this will come together. And that's on August 5th. On August 6th, the next day, residents at the Nome Street, I'm just gonna keep saying Nome Street, at Nome Street, given a week to move out the next day. The news didn't know that. They thought something, but whatever. On August 13th, Nome residents are forced to move out. August 18th, 19th, there was a shootout at an intersection. Let me just be vague, or kind of vague here. It was a denamed street between 10th and 15th. I need to say that because the shootout lasted for hours. 8/19, August 19th, Aurora Police Department teams up with the with the feds for the TDA task force. 8/20, this is from the Denver Gazette. The city has also notified code violations at the same between 12th and 15th with a D letter, and on something Helena Street. So I'm being careful, and I'm also just listing facts that media and police are listing. So this is public. That was also known, the Helena, as one of the TDA properties. On 8/21, TDA is linked to a huge ruby heist here that happened. All of our jewelry stores have been ripped off and stolen from. Let's see, on 8/26. So the New York Press or Post puts a story out on 8/26 that a member of the TDA gang affiliation, one of the main guys, was here in the United States, and he was taking over running this. Oddly, his name is AKA is Cookie Monster. If you look him up, he is a terrible person. He's got some really horrific background. So 8/28, Aurora police say they are aware of TDA. Now they're acknowledging it. 8/28, minutes later, this is like 15 minutes later, when they say that they're aware of TDA. That's when the post went viral about the gunman that all of you have probably seen on some media or another, right? So what used to be just Doordashers is now a very organized thing here going on, and this is a specific facet. 8/29, Mayor Kaufman, that's Aurora's mayor, not Denver, admits the buildings have fallen to gangs on national TV. That's why it's national. And then the same day, an hour and a half after he does this, he goes on 9 News, which is not my favorite for reporting here. We all have our non-favorites for sure. And he goes on there with the mayor from Denver, and they say that it's bad, but it's not as out of proportion as everybody says. On 8/30, our Governor Polis up here in Colorado says the gangs are just in Aurora. They're not in Denver. Denver is Aurora, kind of. 8/30, the city of Aurora continues to deny that TDA is an issue, blames media for creating hysteria. 8/30, Aurora PD admits that the Cookie Monster is in TDA member and that was involved in the July 28th shooting on Nome, and arrests him. Somehow they get him, because a lot of these buildings you can't get into. But that's what's going on. We actually have some standoff buildings. Don't let the media confuse you. We have some standoff buildings that are overrun. The tenants have left. They didn't take their time moving out. They tried to get out, and they've gotten out. Sure that you all have a lot of questions, and some of it might be, how is this 13 related? It's 13 related because it started with DoorDash and migrants, and a lot of cities have them. Please leave all questions, comments, concerns in the notes, and that's 13. Peace.